Back in 2006, when I found out my future father-in-law, Charlie, loved music, I thought, perfect. I love music too. This is how I'll connect. So I let him keep my guitar at his house. Every time I visited, we'd play together, and I slowly realized Charlie was the key to being accepted in this family. That warm smile he'd give me in between songs felt like approval. I bet I'm not the only one who gives and gives of themselves, just hoping that they'll be valued. I didn't just give him my guitar, but I also gave him my time, my energy, and my silence when I really wanted to speak up. All in an effort to be accepted. Just to give you a tiny example of the kind of control he wanted over all of us, when my fiance and I needed to have our house repainted, Charlie only offered to help if we used the colors that he wanted. Every time I gave a piece of myself, I hoped this would finally be the thing that would work. And every time it didn't work, a quiet resentment started to build and build in my body. So, as any well-adjusted and mentally stable person would do, I ignored it and I turned to alcohol to cope. That was the pattern for 2 years. Until, in 2008, at the age of 22, my body made me listen. I suffered from alcohol withdrawal seizures that nearly took my life. For 5 days, I was in the hospital, and my family didn't know if I was going to pull through. The day I came home from the hospital, I was curled up on the couch, weak, raw, thinking, how did I let it get this bad? As I look up, I see Charlie pull into my driveway. Great. What is he going to think of me now? And then I see him pull out something from his back seat. He brought my guitar. And I think, how sweet. We've built a connection through this guitar. And in my biggest moment of need, he brought it to comfort me. I expected a hug, yet as he walked in, he deliberately placed the guitar on the floor. He turns his back to me, looks at my parents and says, "We loved Lindsay." Past tense. And he leaves. I look at the guitar sitting in the shadows by the door. He kept that guitar for years. And you're telling me on that day, he chose to return it. He wasn't just returning the guitar, he was returning me. Why was I trying so hard and giving pieces of myself away to someone who didn't value it? Resentment is one of the clearest signs. You're giving away too much of yourself to someone who doesn't deserve it. Think of it like your internal alarm that's saying, "Hello, this imbalance can't continue." Where in your life do you hear the alarm? Maybe it's when you feel disconnected in relationships, or when you hear yourself going, "I always do this, and they never do that." That's your sign. Not to do more, but to pause. At 22 years old, I paused and I made the incredibly hard decision to leave that relationship and move back home. Because that's just what every young adult wants to do, right? As hard as it was, listening to my body's alarm is the reason why I'm now 14 years sober and why I became a therapist. So I can help people recognize those same patterns, except do it way sooner than I did, so that they can learn to set limits. So connection doesn't come at the cost of themselves. The piece I gave away was a guitar. It was something you could just see sitting by the door. For you, it might be you working late into the night or checking emails after hours, or the emotional and mental load that you carry. Or maybe it's your silence. So the next time you feel resentful or think, I think I'm going to give out one more piece of myself, pause and ask, will this person value what I'm giving them, or just leave it by the door? Because we all give pieces of ourselves away. Just make sure you give them to those that deserve it.